So licensing for financial advisors is a two-step process. It starts with a transitional license, which will be relatively straightforward, and then it follows up to 2 years later for a full license. And the 2-year period in between, advisors are able to consider their competency according to the Code of Conduct, and if they have any gaps, they can spend the time in developing their qualifications to come up to the code.
I think the first thing to do is to start to think about their decision about how they're going to approach licensing. So for example, as an individual, will you be a financial advisor or will you be a nominated representative? And if you're going to be a financial advisor, are you going to operate under your own license or someone else's? So there's that decision framework to work through. And then the second thing is to establish how am I going to comply with my new obligations. So once the new regime comes into force, all the obligations come into force at the same time. So it's an opportunity to start to think about, well, what are those obligations? And how do I get my head around them? So it's about understanding those obligations and starting to unpack them and think about what they mean for me and my business. And then to start to work through your compliance routines and think about how do they help me achieve this compliance obligation.
The licensing process will be fully online, particularly transitional licensing, where we ask simple questions on who the applicant is, what it is they do, and a little around their business structure.
Well, there's no harm in applying early, and of course there's no disadvantage in applying early either, because your obligations don't come in until the end. So all transitional licenses come effective on the same day at the end of the transitional license period. So I would recommend everybody get on and do it sooner rather than later, just to avoid the mad rush.